those of you who weren't locked in this morning, I reached out to Mr. Vegas. He has a proposal that he's put out to the government, which is being considered by many. Vegas, talk to us about that.
It was actually a family member of mine. We were having a discussion, and he brought it up, and I endorsed it. So it's not even totally my idea. I just did more research on it when he brought it up about the criminals on bikes committing numerous crimes, especially across the regions of the Kingston region, basically, Portmore and places there. So being a victim of criminals on bike, I can relate to the to what many people have been going through here, because these bike riders, they have on mask, they have on helmet, and the pillion on the back of the bike, jumps off, grab your chain, grab your bag, commit a crime, maybe murder, because that is how I think the hit squad is working now, from the motorcycles. So I believe that is what is happening with the hitmen work. It's easier for them to get away. They can go and dilly-dally through the traffic and get away.
Yes.
Much easier than compared to, I see people saying, so why not ban cars? It's more difficult for a man to commit a crime in a car and drive. You're going to have to run over the traffic enough because, especially the Kingston region is really, really, traffic jam all the time. Point, Miss Risden that they just killed down Washington Boulevard. She's actually my paralegal. She handles most of my real estate business. And it was the same situation reported, that two men on a bike, one jumped up, empty, X amount of gunshot in her. And the police tried to, drive them down. Couldn't drive them down because it's bike and they get away. I heard that they held on to one of them, the rider of the bike, I heard. My proposal basically is to look at what is happening, especially in the hot zones. How are these bikes aiding criminal elements that are operating in the areas where people are getting robbed, killed, hitmen were carried out, and stuff like that? I'm asking to ban pillions on bikes. And when I said pillions, I'm not going to genderize it by saying man or woman, because man are dressed up like woman to go commit crime. So my idea is one man to a bike or one woman to a bike. In some regions, because of the same situation where the bike riders are committing crimes and getting away easier than a car or walk footman could get away, they ban bikes totally in some regions, like, in the cities, in Colombia, they ban the bikes.
Let's be clear. Do you want bikes with passengers to be banned throughout Jamaica or just in the hot spots of Jamaica?
I think we start in the hot spot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we basically conduct a survey, look at where, people are reporting, these type of crimes, the hot zone, and ban bikes in those regions. You look at the some kids coming from school, and two man ride up on a bike. Who grabbed the phone? The man on the back of the bike, gone with your phone, gone the youth phone. That's what's happening.
Since you've made this proposal, what has the response been?
Well, of course, people are gonna, object to it, and people are gonna in support of it. And to be honest with you, this was a conversation came out of me and my cousin, and he was the one who actually mentioned the idea of banning bikes. He wanted to ban bikes totally. I said no, but the bike man them have to survive. But I think it will be more difficult for a man to ride a bike, come off the bike, shoot somebody, jump up on the bike, and gone. You understand? No, the bike riders, the people committing crime on bikes, the passenger or the pillion, has an helmet, the rider has an helmet on. Nobody can identify them. You shoot anybody and drive dolly through the traffic 2 times, gone. The man that tried to grab my chain on the bike, by the time I went behind him just boom boom through the half a tree traffic, gone. And we're talking about half a tree. In the middle day, the man that tried to grab my chain.
Vegas, I want to ask you something that it's an ongoing conversation here at Sound Chat. Do you feel that more of your colleagues, artists, musicians, producers, the people who have the popularity should get more involved in the political structure of Jamaica?
It depends on the type of involvement. To get kickback, to get favors, to politicize things that are happening, then that is dangerous, you see, because politicians will use you to carry out whatever they're trying to accomplish. They want to accomplish vote. They will use you for that purpose, you know. So you have to be very careful when getting involved in quote unquote politics or politicians, you know, because their main aim is to stay in power. And if they will, you know, if you're going to assist them in staying in power, then that is where, you know, even if they're not performing up to a standard or up to, you know, where the people voted, the things that people voted them to do, then, you know, you're going to be basically compromised as well.
I feel that people such as yourself, and there's, you know, numerous artists that we could name, could possibly get into politics, not for the, you know, pushing the agenda, but for the betterment of the country, to get people to come out and vote for policy instead of party. Is that something that you would be interested in the future? Or you are one of those artists that just said, no, not anything we have to do with politics, me no, I'm nothing to do with it?
Well, if you don't get involved in any aspect of what man in the country or who is man in the country ideas, you know, then basically you don't have a voice. It's like you don't have a chance if you don't buy the laptop. You know, so, you know, you can speak all day and put forward ideas, but you have to basically look at areas that can be improved and point out. The problem is there's a thing called the wrong messenger in Jamaica, where if you're not a favorite of the people, you know, the message may fly over a lot of people's head, and when you put forward certain mandate, you know, or certain ideas, people reject it because of just the messenger. So if it comes back to, you know, people like the politicians, you know, the policies, you know, you see it on social media where people complain about policies, but, you know, maybe, you know, people who are voting, they're voting for personality. They're not voting for policies. And that is something that has been, you know, embedded in our system throughout time. Where, you know, your mother come and she said JLP, your father come and she said PMP, and your mother come and she said that MP, and your father used to say that MP, and even though, you know, you may not be performing, you know, at a certain level, but you feel entitled to endorse that person, and it continues that you endorse his daughter that is running after him, or the person that took the seat. You know, so it's like, you know, something that is embedded in our system. Instead of, you know, asking for changes and holding people accountable, I believe we have to start doing a term system when it comes down to how many years can a prime minister serve for, how many years can a senator or a MP serve for, you know, those type of things. So those are some of the ideas. But again, who's going to put forward the message? Because the persons who can put forward this type of information are rejected by society because they are not, they are the sons of the country.
Politics in Jamaica is a tradition, right? We deal with the families of politicians, and then them daughter, and then them son, and so forth and so forth. But I also feel that, and I could be wrong, but I feel like if there was a concerted effort for the artists and members of the music fraternity to really have a one voice and really get involved, it could help. We saw here in the States where when it was time for Obama to be elected, the hip hop industry played a huge role in getting people to focus on making that become a reality. And I honestly, Vegas, I believe that if artists, popular, the ones that are not popular, because numbers, you know, strengthen numbers, right? If there was to be some type of movement coming out of Jamaica where we start to preach policy instead of personality, policy instead of party, it should attract the interest of some.
Well, that you just said is the ideal situation. However, the voices that you would that's come to mind. Just check the voices that come to mind. Biggest names in dancehall music. They may be compromised where they cannot speak. I think that is one of the situations when it comes down to our artists. If you check the record and how many of our artists are involved in certain things that
right. those of you who are just tuning in, I'm speaking to Mr. Vegas. He's made a great suggestion to solve some of the crime happening in some of the, highly concentrated areas of Jamaica, which is to ban pillions off of motorbikes. So one man or one woman to a bike. That's
Yep.
it. There's so many killings that's taking place,
Yep.
and the culprits are usually two persons on a bike.